Hey friends, we are looking at the Pantasy Gift Store. This is Pantasy's set number 85043, and it has 3,143 pieces. This is a fully built 360-degree building. I don't know if I'd call it modular because it isn't really meant to come apart, but it does open up, and we'll take a look at the inside in this video. And we'll also turn on the motor because it's motorized, and that one motor makes a bunch of different things happen. And in this video, we'll also talk about some of the quirks and my thoughts on this as overall as a build. All right, so starting with the model itself, this is a gift store. So here in the US, I'm not sure what a gift store would be, but we'll come back to that topic. All right, so first thing right off the bat is there are no lights for this particular building. The only other Pantasy building I've built is the architecture firm, and it was designed by Osojang. It's clearly a different designer, different style that they're going for. But let's go ahead and turn on the motor. The motor is hidden inside of here. You notice there's really nothing else in here. So there is a little USB-C port right here at the bottom. I have wall power USB-C cable right here. Plug it in, the little light comes on, it's red, and then we're going to press this little button to get things going. All right, and some things are starting to move here. Let's turn it around, let's see what's moving. So what we have moving is a carousel. We have a merry-go-round with 3 animals there, and we've got a little kitty that's doing a little peekaboo out of a gift box. It's quite amazing that they're able to do 3 different areas of motion with a single motor. I have to applaud them for figuring out that engineering. It's actually quite clever, and they're transferring power and motion all over the place inside this build. So let's zoom in. You can see, for example, the kitty. It's on this like cam that's in here, and that cam, as it moves, is just moving the kitty up and down. So you could hold it and it would be perfectly fine because it's the cam that's lifting it. This doesn't really move, the lid, but that would have been even more amazing as if the lid came up with it. And then for the Ferris wheel here, it's a small Ferris wheel with little gifts in each of these little spots. The geometry is quite tight. You have to get it just right. If you don't, then as it's coming loose on this side, it'll do an extra swing, and so that's the sound that you're hearing. But overall, nothing's binding or anything like that there, so I appreciate that. And then over on this side with the merry-go-round, the merry-go-round has a unicorn, a penguin, and a lion, and they are not only going around in a circle, but they're spinning too. So I'm pretty impressed that they were able to pull that off. So a lot of really interesting stuff happening. Kudos to the engineering guys for figuring that out. So starting on the ground floor, you'll see that we have 2 characters. These are the Pantasy characters, and you build these up, and we'll take a closer look at them. You know, there's one here, and both of them actually have overalls, so it makes me think they're both employees of the gift store. And as usual, they give you alternate legs too, in case you want to sit them down. And the legs have alternate feet as well. The sitting feet do not have holes because you're not going to be putting them into any studs. So the bottom floor, you see this large gift box. You see a couple of smaller gift boxes, and you have the overall entrance. You have a lot of gold and ornate detail here. A A-frame that says open, and then this statue, which is like a ballerina. And the ballerina actually is very cleverly done. For a minimum amount of parts, you get the idea that this is a dress. The arms are in a nice pose with the hair. Some flowers, and then behind her is this window where you see some of the items that they are selling through that window. There's a couple of windows, more windows here, a lot of ornate detail, good use of the white against this sand green. This second floor here ends in this window right here. And this here is supposed to be like a narrow hallway. And so we'll take a look at how absolutely narrow that is. This is a nice, huge, like satellite dish piece that's clear. And every decoration you see here is printed, so that is a printed piece, as well as this sign that says gift store. As a matter of fact, it comes on this dark red piece, and the printing is so perfect that uh, you barely see the lines between the pieces. There's actually quite a few pieces to make up that sign. There's I think 6 pieces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 pieces to make up that sign, and it was just printed in place. You see basically a first floor, and this is the um, battery box, or sorry, not the battery box. This is where the motor is housed, is right here in this kind of cylindrical shape. And then there has this area here, which is not a place you can go into. It's just there to build up more of the structure. But what it's got in there is actually just one giant axle running up into the merry-go-round, and then it transfers power into the main building so it can get to that. And then, there's also power that's getting sent from the bottom up to this kitty cat. So let's open up the back too. Oh, by the way, there's a door you see there, just right there. Okay, so this whole back panel folds open, hinges open, and inside, I'm going to put a little more light here. So inside, what we get are some stairs that take a 90-degree turn and keep going up. The stairs were a little bit finicky to put together. They did kind of collapse on me, so I had to be really ginger about it. On the inside, you'll see there's balloons. There is like a holiday display right in the center there. Some toys around like a Christmas tree and some presents. And if you see over here along that wall, there's a whole series of gears that run the height of the first floor. And one of the gears that comes through there is the gear that ends up transferring power, I want to say, to the Ferris wheel. And it's so close to these gears that I thought for sure they were going to motorize these gears too, because they can all turn. They're all connected to each other, so you could actually turn them if you wanted to, and they would all move all at once. And so there was just one gear. If they had just added that, this whole thing would have been moving too. But they did not put a gear there to do that. So I'm wondering why they didn't do that. It's sort of a missed opportunity. It's probably because it added additional friction to the gears, and so maybe they were worried about it running too long for something that you would not really see that much of. So I bet you the original designer planned on making that move. That's my feeling. And then on the second floor here, you'll see there is a workshop and a desk with like a cork board and some posters. And then if you look there at the back, there's actually a whole gift shop display back there. So you can see rolls of gift wrapping, and there's some loose rolls of gift wrapping in the corner. There's examples of bows. On the back, there is entire examples of gift boxes too, and other colors, and these are all printed pieces in there as well, where you see decorations. So very interesting. It's interesting that it's sort of like an office space, but it's also a wrapping area or display of wrapping paper. But notice there is no place to do the actual wrapping. So that I thought was a little strange. And then this second floor, it turns a corner into this area here. And what I wanted to show you is you could actually see a poster through the window there. And there's not a lot of space here. It's not enough room to fit a figure. It's barely enough room to put your finger in there. So it's probably only about, I'd say, maybe 2 studs wide in here. So it's a very narrow space, and it's not really usable as a space for the characters. So I'm going to stop here real quick just to talk a little bit about gift stores. So maybe this is a European thing, or maybe in other parts of the world, a gift store is obvious what that is. But to me, a gift store, we don't really have gift stores in America. We have gift shops, like maybe at a museum, you exit through the gift shop. Or if you're riding Star Tours at Disneyland, when you exit, there's a gift shop. And they're all themed. They're always themed to whatever it is that you just participated in, because you have all this excitement and you just saw, everything that was related to Star Wars, and so they want to sell you some Star Wars stuff, right? But here, this is a gift store that I don't know what they're selling. They're selling a little of everything. So they're selling housewares. They're selling things for girls who like ballerinas. They're selling stuffies. They're selling animals. But it's almost like they're selling gift supplies. So I wonder if this is a gift supply store and not a gift store. I thought at first it was like a toy store that they just happen to call gift store, but there just isn't enough inventory. There's not enough product for it to be a toy store. The other thing that's strange is that it doesn't function as a store. So if you were here to sell gift wrap, you would think that you would wrap things for people too, but there is no table for that. So I guess they're only selling the wrap and then you take it home and you wrap it yourself. If that's the case, okay, but why wouldn't you put that all in the main showroom area? Why would you put it here in an office? It's a little strange that the office shares space with showroom area. Again, maybe I just don't understand how these types of stores work. And then you can't quite see it, but there's even more detail right beyond that front door. And there's some detail in here. And again, we can't necessarily see it because of the way that this is all kind of laid out. It doesn't let you see some of the detail on the inside. This is a set that would have really benefited from lights, I think, too. With the lights off, it is quite dark on the inside. I think the trade-off was okay. They motorized instead of adding lights. So here's a better look at the roof, right? So you do have another present here, another present here. This is really nicely done. I like that golden spire at the very top. And then it has this kind of hobby horse that's on a spring. So it comes with a real metal spring. Hobby horse build is pretty good. I like his eyes. I like using Unikitty's tail for his mane. I think that's really smart. But yeah, he just jiggles just enough where it's playful. So that's really well done. I like the shaping that they did for the top of this carousel. It tried to suggest mirrors right along here. And there's a lot of gold on it too. So I think that stepping back, when I think about this set, it reminds me, it's got a little like Willy Wonka going on with it, something whimsical, something magical even, a lot of gold. Is this a set that you would put into your city if you had a city layout? I think the answer is maybe, but maybe not. It would work if your city layout had like a theme park section, because this is just so over the top. The architectural details and the way that this is all put together it's really just, it's a lot of like showmanship, and it's for show, and it's just so unusual. And if your city is all about realistic interiors and realistic proportions and usable space for your minifigs, by the way, here's a minifig for scale. If you're interested in realistic spaces, then this may not be for you, because the interior spaces are not realistic. They don't function as real spaces that have a purpose. Is it still amazing, and will it stand out in your city? Yes, for sure, it'll stand out. And the second you flip on the power and see all these things moving, it's amazing. I used to build mocks that needed to be, they were being shown in conventions that were like 2-day conventions. So they needed to run 6-8 hours a day for maybe 4 days in a row. I know that it's very important to make the pieces durable, make the gearing durable so that it doesn't shake itself loose, or it doesn't have any weaknesses. And as far as I could tell, the way they engineered this, I think it could last for almost a whole day running, and then you'd have to maybe adjust it at the end of the day, but it's built really well. You could probably leave it running for hours and hours and it wouldn't bind up, it wouldn't fail on you. So I really appreciate that they were able to do that. Visually, it's an amazing set. It does have some quirks, but I think the world needs sets like this that are unusual and that push the boundaries. Oh, I do want to thank Pantasy for sending me this set. I almost forgot to mention that. They did send it to me for review, and I'm so thankful. This is a set I wouldn't have experienced otherwise. Okay, so like the video if you like it, and subscribe. I'll be able to keep sharing interesting sets like this one. All right, thanks so much.